So this is my 1996 Toyota Sprinter Carib Z Touring. It is basically a Corolla platform, A11 something. This is a A115. It's actually the last of the Sprinters. So some of you might know, the A86. There were two models. There was the Trueno and the Levin, and there was a Sprinter Trueno and the Corolla Levin. And this is that Sprinter. It's the same sort of kind of like brand that that Toyota had, and Toyota were like, yeah, well, why do you have this weird sub brand of Corollas and Sprinters? So this is actually the last model that was ever called a Sprinter out of Toyota. It ended here. What's interesting about this kind of car? Well, it's four-wheel drive. Like, four-wheel drive Corollas are not very common. And it's four-wheel drive and manual. It's got some beautiful and in desperate need of refurbishment Sprint Heart wheels with some interesting decals on those center caps, man. God knows what Takeshi Project were thinking when they came up with that wording. So four-wheel drive with a viscous coupling that helps to drive a viscous rear diff. It's like, super simple stuff. It's not really like a performance diff or anything. This is not a performance car. This is like a safety car, basically. It's got a 1.8 liter engine, 7 AFE that was really common in lots of Celicas and Corollas in the States. This is obviously a Japan-only model because Sprinter only existed in Japan. Yeah. Basically, it's the baby car for this family. Before I had this, I had a Toyota Starlet for the baby. But as we got bigger and we needed more space, you need a car that can take a child seat, right? I mean, check out this interior, man. Fucking hell. Look at that seat. Look at that pattern. It's fucking wild 90s levels of hues and shit. What's different in this car? Well, I put a slightly nicer, longer shift knob, which even my wife prefers. She likes a nice long knob. Got the full second hand, obviously, and it really matches the car because silver. Yeah, I like that. Two-tone, by the way. It was a Hilux Surf that came with the same color spec. This silver and metallic blue two-tone. Yeah. So this is like the ultimate car because at this point Toyota were producing chassis that were fully galvanized, and who gives a shit these days about a car that lasts more than 20 years? Well, Toyota were producing cars, even the base spec, tiny little micro eco cars, like the Corolla and what's the other one? The Starlet, which is even smaller. Galvanized chassis. That's fucking expensive. That's insane. Anyway, we'll look under the hood. It's got just over 200,000 kilometers. So four-wheel drive, and to be honest, if there's an Achilles heel in these cars, it's the engine. They built an engine that will last a long time, but it's just not very economical, especially in four-wheel drive. So there's a front diff and then a thing that sends power to the back. Most of the power ends up coming out of the front. There's a green filter in there, which is the AM for Europe. Yay, green filter. And I put a strut brace in and a catch tank because I like to see what's coming out of my engine out of the breathers, and this is a nice way to monitor that. Sneakily snuck in, of course. It's not even OEM. Things that have gone wrong on this car. Wiper motors have gone wrong on this car. The wiper motors both broke in my ownership. One from just being badly smashed and the other from just being old. I've replaced them with the the Euro spec wiper motors. It's all the same shit. It's all Corolla, which is lovely. So what else has been done? This car is on a lift kit. So It's a lift kit from Russia. Why would you get a lift kit from Russia? Well, the Carib is really popular in Russia, especially the central and eastern parts. I'll explain why. Russia has petrol that's even cheaper than in America. So if you've got like basically a late 80s 4-pot engine with late 80s eco, well, lack of eco, it doesn't fucking matter. You're paying tiny amounts of fuel. Now, that sucks a bit for me because I live in Western Europe, but it's okay. It's not like it's like, you know, this car was very cheap for me to buy, so I'm happy having it. It's just so cool. Orange corners, I fucking love orange corners. So lift kit from Russia, because these cars are really popular in Russia. I chat with lots of people from Novosibirsk and other parts, like people from Kazakhstan. What happens is, like, the big 4x4s that you get, like, you know, Toyota Hiluxes and Prados and Land Cruisers, they're actually quite expensive to maintain compared with these cars. Because these cars were made for mass market, and then, like, with the weirdness of Toyota, they just made them to last almost forever. So people really like these as a really regular runabout. Other places they're popular: New Zealand and Uganda. So I actually bought this from a New Zealander in the UK, a guy working as a civil servant for the British government, and he was like, yeah, I've got an Outback now, I don't need this Subaru Outback. And I was like, okay, I'll take that. He'd put it on eBay 3 times. Nobody had ever even bid for it. So basically I offered him to buy it now, you know, the reserve price of his 4th listing, and he accepted that. It's cool. Came with some spare wheels, but I put the farts on, I mean the hearts, and I have been laughing ever since. Got all seasons on this, like Eurospec all seasons, and actually they do pretty well in the sand, but I want to see what I can push this car to do off-road. The problem is I don't know what the limits are, so I need a buddy to go with off-road to see what this car can actually do, and then I can go past the limit and then he can fucking rescue me with a proper 4x4. But apparently this is really, really a good 4x4, and, you know, hey, it rocks. Got some nice yellow tinted, super bright LEDs, headlights up front. Sometimes people who are in official capacities tell me to turn them off during the day. They're too fucking bright to run at night, man. You just blind oncoming traffic. Yeah. I'm trying to think of what else is interesting about this car. It's just a lovely car. I mean, it's like the ultimate car other than the fuel economy. The drive is really lovely. It feels good to drive. I mean, it's like that engine, the 7A FE was a really torquey little engine, and it just responds so beautifully. You can go uphill slowly in 3rd with a fully loaded car behind other cars that are going too slow, and it's just no problem at all. I've taken this car into Eastern Europe during the snow season. It's performed admirably. Yeah, Toyota build freaking amazing cars. I love Mazdas, but I got to tell you, for like a car that you're going to abuse as opposed to treat like a garage queen. Look at that little blue car, man. Toyotas are hard to beat. Well, what else? Got a couple of stickers here, a couple of fun things. Yeah, Watanabe sticker. Where's my Watanabes? Well, they're on another car, right? FDMC is a nice motor racing club in the UK. My kid absolutely loves these bananas. Yeah, simple. Well, that's it. I hope you found that interesting. Hope you found it spasiba. Yeah, sometimes I call this car the Blyatmobile. That's a Boris reference, if ever there was one. Have a great day.